the gunman that killed 8 people in the FedEx facility in Indianapolis, Indiana. This is one of the biggest FedEx facilities in the world, from what I've heard. And it's down by the Indianapolis airport. So the gunman opened fire both outside and inside of the facility on Thursday night, creating a scene where people were running for cover before the shooter turned the gun on himself and took his own life. So it was about 11 p.m. when the cops were called to the scene, saying that the gunman parked outside, got out of his vehicle, and quickly began shooting. First in the parking lot, then made his way into the building. It happened fast, like about 1 to 2 minutes, suggesting he used some sort of semi-automatic weapon. So along with 8 people that were killed, there were 5 people that were hospitalized with injuries from the shooting and 1 that was in critical condition. This cat literally is a 19-year-old former employee who was questioned last year by the FBI because the guy's mother said in 2020 that she was worried that he might try to commit a suicide by cop. GPS, Cortez, whoever wants to start with this first, if the FBI had their sights set on this cat back in 2020, I say they officially dropped the ball and caused this massacre to happen.
But isn't that always the case with this shit, man? I mean, people call up the FBI and tell them these they give them these leads, man, and FBI be dropping the ball, bro. They just drop it. They think it's not that. They think it's irrelevant. But when you throw in there certain terms such as Middle Eastern, African American, Latino, it takes on a whole different role.
It's a whole different dynamic.
Yeah, that's what, I mean, it's definitely issues. I'm not going to say this is race related, but I mean, he wasn't black. He wasn't black. He was disgruntled, but at my job, I try to be nice to people as much as I can, man. I try very hard because you might have that one worker, man. It might be a little off or whatever, man, and they got access to artillery and everything, man. It's just always the upset worker that comes back and just lays everybody out, man.
Yeah, there were members of the Sikh community that were victims of this massacre. So, Cortez, you might be right on the ball where it might have been, racially motivated.
And normally a lot of these from just history, man, because history has a way of repeating itself. It could be race, mental illness that leads into race, man, or it could be a straight up, because I don't know how they can label this. Is it going to be labeled as a hate crime?
4 were Sikh, and the rest, I believe, were not. Now, just a little factoid: there are between 8,000 and 10,000 Sikh Americans in Indiana, and members of the religion, which began in India in the 15th century, began settling in Indiana more than 50 years ago. And their first house of worship is known as a Gurdwara back in 99. So obviously, this is another blow to the Asian American community.
We have definitely fallen short on tolerance of other people's cultures and religions. We fell short, man. It's like, I feel as though ignorance is driving some of these shootings. I think it's driving all of them, man, to be honest, at this point. You got people that have these false notions in their minds that this one group is either getting over on the other group, or they come up with these conspiracy theories, man. I bet you my money this cat probably was based on a lot of his stuff, probably off conspiracy theories, man. After he got fired, he probably was depressed after he got fired.
Maybe, but they still don't know what the motive yet of the shooter was. He targeted the facility, which was known to be very heavily populated by Sikh employees. But GPS. Is this just another? You remember what that sheriff said in I think it was in Georgia? Oh, maybe this person was mad. Are they going to make some kind of excuse for this individual?
They probably will. I mean, nobody knows anything yet. I mean, did the FBI check to see if this guy owned any guns? Did they check to see if there was any psych history done on this guy ever in life?
Well, he was on their list last year.
And
Oops.
magically, y'all take your eyes off of him long enough for him to do something like this.
And even his mom said something. She was afraid of suicide by cop. That should have maybe tell you something.
They just, man, they turn a blind eye to a lot of these discrepancies, man. His mother told them, like, look, he got guns, he got everything. She probably ran down a whole laundry list of stuff, and they probably said, okay, and they put him on a list and forgot about him, man. And keep in mind, it's a lot of terrorist cells, man. It's a lot of terrorist cells in the United States right now, man. They just need something. Most of them, they got the ammunition. They got all the weaponry they need. They just need something to activate them so they can go out here and do something dumb, man.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, it's true. And just in the past month, we've had at least a good 20 or more mass shootings, from Stockton to Orange, California, to Boulder, Colorado, obviously Dallas, Philly, Baltimore, D.C., Virginia Beach, the Chi, which we're going to bring into later. So, GPS, do we really need to just not more of what everybody likes to say to defund? And now, I feel as if they're using this word of defunding where it's going to get played out. But not more of defund, but what about reconstructing the actual police system in the country, or even the FBI?
Definitely some training needs to go on here. There needs to be probably a team in place that, I don't know if they could work alongside probation officers or whatever, but your homework is to follow these 10 guys around or whatever it is. Now, how you would get that paid for, I don't know. The people that get into their program, would they have to pay a fee, or, would it be a responsibility? Is there some insurance they could buy, or, something they could do to fund this? I don't know, but I think defunding the police is going to be a problem, because if you don't have any police, there's only one other option. And when those guys shoot up, when these guys show up, they're not talking. Okay? When the National Guard shows up, it's stop. If you don't stop, it's bang.
It.
There's no in between.
Game over.
Center mass. That's what they're aiming for. Some training needs to go on with these police officers for sure. And then administratively, I think there needs to be some reconstruction in the hierarchy as to who does what, who goes where. Because it's just too often. Any job, I've been fired off a lot of jobs. I ain't thought about going past nobody's place of business and shooting it up. It ain't never been that serious for me. But for whatever reason, these guys, they lose their minds, and it is what it is.